What are the top KPIs every e-commerce brand should be monitoring?
Each business's goal is to make money. And so that's where we'll chat about here in a second, like my key focuses. But know that each business is not the same. Even if you're categorically trying to compare yourself against a similar, competitor, you are not the same businesses. And so your cost economics, your overhead, your whatever, those are all different. Your margin, they could be significantly different. So just be patient in knowing that you're not the same. Now, with that being said, the North Star to me of a successful business is its EBITDA, like straight up, like after everything's said and done, what money is living there. Now, working up the funnel per se is things like contribution margin, right? Which is just kind of like revenue minus your variable costs. So looking at things like just a step up from true EBITDA is kind of that contribution margin, right? And that's just a metric that helps you define profitable revenue. It's not final profit, but it's at least profitable revenue. If you've got your variable expenses in order and you have enough revenue, and after those variable expenses, there's money, that's a good thing. And then as we start again working back up, I think the other key metric, a really key metric that a lot of brands I don't think fully understands is the difference between a CPA and a CAC. Yeah. There is a significant difference, right? We want the CPA to be the cost per acquisition related to new customer, and the CAC being related to known consumer, right? And the level of understanding of how much your total marketing spend drives return customer efficiency, if that makes sense, versus what you're actually able to acquire in a net new customer acquisition when taking like all expenses into account. And so ensuring that number, regardless of your media mix, that you understand what that number is, whether it's healthy or not, that it's an understood number. And then kind of blending in all that kind of along that same levels is like an MER, right? So just a marketing efficiency ratio, just a little bit more granular, like broader in understanding what expenses and what revenue is across all marketing channels and across all revenue. And so a lot of the times, just as a preface here, and we might get into this a little bit more, but there's a significant difference between a true direct-to-consumer product, right, and a company that sells to consumers. And so the difference is the distribution of their product on open channel, third party, whatever. So, you're a brand, you sell on a Shopify store. Awesome. The second you start Amazon, and then you're like, oh, sweet. Then you go to like Target Direct, and then you go to Walmart, and then you're like, awesome, we're getting that. And then some of those retailers contact you and you start going in store, indoors, and then like potentially owned and operated stores. Like there's a lot of distribution of revenue and then a lot of distribution of impression. And that's where MER is just a clear number of that.
Over the last 2 years, since e-commerce kind of had like its artificial jump and dump.
The bubble.
Yeah, crazy to even think about.
The Blue Aprons, the Casper mattresses, the Warby Parkers.
Are you seeing that brands are starting to care more about some of those KPIs that you just mentioned now that things are really, really tight and access to capital is really limited?
Well, they have to. I mean, right. I think either like there's that, right, back to your 2 years ago. I mean, I think it even goes beyond 2 years ago. I mean, it goes until like the social media darlings of 2016 to about 2019, 18, when legit you could do no wrong. Meaning both from a capital perspective, like you could just go raise on whatever valuation you threw out there, or you just like whatever had come up with the, you became the Airbnb of, right? Which kind of was popular. Like, oh, hey, like we're the this of that. We're the Dollar Shave Club of. We're the Dollar Shave Club. And it's like, as that began to wear off, what came from that is the fact that, cool, all this valuation, all this revenue, all this whatever, if there's no like profit at the end of that rainbow, investors have a hard time sticking around. And so so what's forced e-commerce to do is build profitability into their model. And if they're not, it's not that they're going to be done, they are done. Like you just will not survive.
Right. Which explains all of the closures that we're seeing, all the bankruptcies, all the layoffs. Like Etsy just laid off 12% of their staff yesterday.
I mean, because again, it's leveraged revenue potential. That's the problem. The problem is it's no different than the stock market. Like there is a volatility in outputted exposure and reach. And the problem is that if you don't play your hands right, you'll activate marketing that doesn't get the raw ROI that it's supposed to because you haven't done your due diligence, and you'll just straight burn money. And that burnt money goes nowhere. And who's to pay for it? It's 12% of their staff. Or it's an entire organization as a whole, just gone.
Yeah, and I think that we're going to see, I mean, any brands listening in on this, like, I think our advice to you would be like, get scrappy, get efficient, like cut costs, do more with less. Even from the agency side, that's what everyone's kind of being forced to do right now.
And I think the key brands that are doing well are identifying what a win is. What's a win? A win is different for each brand. And I think it also always doesn't have to be incredibly crazy 25, whatever. I don't know. Those are insane, but like 15 to 18% EBITDAs, right? It just needs to be healthy. And healthy is not in the negative, right? Not being cash negative. If you're in the position of running growth for a brand in this marketing world, and you don't have visibility into or a relationship with the P&L, that relationship and that client, that account is not going to last. It's just not. You have to know why and what they're doing that's impacting your ability to do what you're good at, right? I'm a Google guy. Awesome. You need to understand what variable expenses are happening across the business that are impacting why the CEO may and financial side of the business may be looking at what you're doing or whatever as a gain or a loss. And if you don't know the nuances of every aspect of their cost systems and expenses and all that, like you're screwed. Like you've got to be in control. And the visibility gives you power. So like if there's one thing out there to someone that feels like they don't have connection or that they don't feel like they've got control over either their current work situation, if you're just brand side, which I was brand side forever, or you're a consultant, get visibility to the P&L.
Knowing the P&L allows you to make smarter decisions, right? And it's better for everyone if there's visibility on that front. Being
a consultant into it, we also see other P&Ls, what's healthy, what's not healthy, and we can be assisting and consulting those things. And it doesn't have to be as crazy as we're not assisting to make decisions on warehousing and this and that or whatever, but we definitely can say, okay, your product margin's blank, like should be incredibly involved in pricing strategy, right? Because pricing strategy has everything to do with conversion efficiency. And then conversion efficiency has everything to do with dollars spent in driving impression, right? And so the cyclicality of all that, if not understood, then you're just working with like less and less and less. And as the blinders come in, you're going to get blindsided when the clients come into you when their expectations are significantly off.